You are mistaken, Mr. Darcy, if you suppose that the mode of your declaration affected me in any other way, as it has spared me the concern which I might have felt in refusing you had you behaved in a more gentlemanlike manner. You could not have made me the offer of your hand in any possible way that would have tempted me to accept it. From the very beginning, from the first moment, I may almost say, of my acquaintance with you, your manners impressing upon me with the fullest belief of your arrogance, your conceit, and your selfish disdain for the feelings of others, were such as to form the groundwork of disapprobation, on which succeeding events have built so immovable a dislike. And I had not known you a month before I felt you were the last man in the world whom I could ever be prevailed upon to marry. Who doesn't love Pride and Prejudice? Who doesn't love Jane Austen? There's people out there, and if you are someone who has never absorbed Pride and Prejudice through any medium by reading it or watching it, I highly encourage you to do so. I suggest reading it if you can. It's a great read. It reads really easily, actually. It has lots of humor and character and life in it. But if you're like, hey, I'm not a reader, I'm never gonna do that, watch the BBC version if you can, or watch the shortened movie, which I've not seen, but I will. I'm a huge Matthew Macfadyen fan. Anyway, I love Pride and Prejudice. I love Lizzie Bennet, which is the character here. And in this moment, Mr. Darcy has just proposed to me for the first time. And when he proposed to me, he insulted me throughout the entire thing. He insulted my family, he insulted my status, he insulted my money, and he said, I'm proposing to you against like all my good sense, but for some reason I like can't not love you, and so I love you, and so let's do this. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, what? So first of all, worst proposal ever. Second of all the things that I have ever learned about Mr. Darcy are like abhorrent. He is rude, cold, and selfish, like in person, my own like interactions with him, like totally awkward and weird, right? And I also learned that he got in the middle of my sister's happiness by getting in the middle of an engagement to a really nice, lovely man who was gonna propose to her. He talks him out of it. And through a new friend that I have, Mr. Wickham, I found out that Darcy's also kind of a scoundrel and got in the middle of his thing too, which that all, you know, gets handled later. But so this is like what I know. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this man proposes to me and insults me during the entire proposal. So we're having an argument about it. And then this is pretty much the end of the argument, because he's like, you know what, maybe it's the way I did it. Maybe we revisit this. These are summaries of what's going on. And I'm like, no. There is no way that you could have proposed to me where I would have said yes, because I think you're very rude and very conceited and very, very selfish. And I haven't known you very long. I hadn't known you very long before I thought, oh, I could never marry that guy. That's basically what this speech is. So to me, there's like two little telling things in this. Number one is the amount of anger that's even on the page. Like, Lizzie is very upset during this. And you only really get that angry, I find, if you're afraid that something might be true. If someone insults you with something that you know is not a hot button for you, it doesn't infuriate you. You know, maybe someone could be annoying or something like that, but it doesn't get you like, wah, right? So it's only because I'm afraid that maybe like his comments about like my status and my family and all of this, even if I won't admit that to myself right now, or I can't, somewhere deep down, I'm kind of afraid it's true. That like, maybe this is the only offer I'm ever gonna get. Or maybe my family is gonna be my downfall, right? Like, we start having these thoughts, even if we don't admit that we have these thoughts, they're like buried deep. So that's one thing going on. The other thing that I find interesting in this speech, and I've always found interesting in this speech, is that Lizzie says, whom I could ever be prevailed upon to, you're the last man in the world whom I could ever be prevailed upon to marry. I had known that. I hadn't known you a month before I knew that. Well, now why are you even thinking about marrying Mr. Darcy? Unless there's like something there, right? I don't think, do you think about marrying people that maybe there isn't like, even if you can't admit it to yourself, there isn't like a curiosity somewhere deep down about them? I never have. I mean, I'm married now, but before then, like I never was just like, oh, I wonder what it would be like to marry this random person who I have no interest in whatsoever. You don't do that, especially someone you don't like. You may go like, oh, I want, if someone is whatever, I'm sort of getting into this thing. But so I think that's a little telling on Lizzie is like how hurtful and angry this makes her, right? So there needs to be a vulnerability there. If it's just, knocking down rage, I don't think it works. It's not as moving, right? But also that like, wait, why are you even thinking about marrying Mr. Darcy if all you're thinking about is how you couldn't marry Mr. Darcy? There's something there. Maybe. I don't know. Read Pride and Prejudice if you haven't. So it was really fun to dig into this one. If you liked it, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'm certain I will do more Austen throughout the 1000 monologues. Thank you so much.